and we'll go upstairs to the third floor. Thinking back, I always wanted to know how things work and how companies who created things could then protect their inventions. All fast-moving technology areas, the law is always playing catch-up. I'm Chwu. I'm the managing partner of Bird in China, and it's a pleasure to show you around our fantastic Hong Kong offices. Right, well, my go-to coffee spot in Hong Kong is a place called Sando Coffee. It's a branch of a Japanese chain, and in Hong Kong they have a couple of spots. The nearest one from here is probably the one in Litang Avenue in Wan Chai. If you know me, you'll know I'm a massive foodie, and I'm very fortunate that within a short walk of where we are at Bird offices here, there are a fantastic number of great restaurants. For example, we often go to the restaurants over in the Grand Hyatt Hotel, which is about a 2-minute walk away, and there you have Italian, you have Japanese, you have Western. They also do a fantastic curry lunch too. Let me show you upstairs to the entrance lobby. So we're in Central Plaza. It's one of the tallest buildings in Hong Kong Island, and we have this fantastic open space here with trees growing inside. We have a real palm tree here. Not quite sure why it's growing indoors, but anyway.
It's a real tree.
It is. And then our lobby is upstairs up these escalators. So this is our own lobby where we have our own lifts. We're quite fortunate in that regard. And we'll go upstairs to the third floor.
Oh wow, I see Halloween decoration.
Yeah, welcome to the third floor. This is where we do serious work, but also where we have our internal staff pantry. And as you can see, we are now getting ready for some Halloween festive fun. Please come this way. So Kathy, could I interest you in a beverage? We have coffee, we have tea, or we have draft beer. So probably somewhat unusual for a law firm in Hong Kong, I would probably guess, is that we have our own beer tap, which serves cold, frosty ones. So when we were finalizing the layout of the floor, my finance director asked me about this beer tap, and I said it was a marketing expense because the beer it serves us from one of our clients, and so that's how we got this through. Would you like one?
No, I can't drink on the job.
Oh, it's probably a bit too early anyways.
So what inspired you to be in law?
Thinking back, I always wanted to know how things work and how companies who created things could then protect their inventions. And as I looked more into it, I also found that actually, hey, I quite like helping clients to be able to then protect inventions that they make. So I started, I've been in the legal field for about 27 years now. I've been at Bird for 20 of those. I started off my career as a patent and trademark agent in London. And then when I joined Bird in 2004, and then re-qualified as a lawyer then. I suppose a short answer would be always telling people how to do things and to always be right. But actually, for me, my journey was that I didn't intend on being a lawyer from the outset. I was wanting to be a pilot, and that's why I studied aerospace engineering, and then afterwards turned to law.
Okay, so can you share your journey in the legal field and what led you to specialize in technology and communications or even intellectual property?
So thinking back, I think the truth of it is that I'm a geek at heart. I'm a real nerd, and I like gadgets. I like tech. I like to know how things work, and then as I got into it, finding out that I actually have a way to understand how clients come up with inventions, and then figuring out how to help them both enforce their rights, protect it, and then monetize it.
Very good. So I did a little digging on you, and I found that your most used tech item was an old school mechanical watch. Do you happen to have it with you?
I do, as a matter of fact. Kathy, thanks for asking.
Since when did you have that watch?
I've had this watch for a while. In fact, it's the one I'm wearing now. It's very simple. It just tells the time. It doesn't do anything more than that. But there's a certain simplicity and there's a certain elegance in how it goes about telling you the time that I find is very clear and very refreshing in this current day and age of everything being so integrated and everything being smart and AI powered. This does nothing but tell me the time, and it's almost like a touchstone to a much more simple time.
Let me see.
Okay. Now we've got to the 6th floor.
What's on the 6th floor?
The 6th floor is where we have our major client spaces.
Just.
Okay, this way. Our lovely Bernberg reception.
Can you tell me a bit about this building? When was it built?
Yeah, sure. So this building, we moved in May 2020 in the height of COVID times. We actually built it during the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020, when it was really unclear whether we could bring all the materials and the workers down to finish it off in time. So this is. Yeah. So here we have the main client meeting spaces. So we have a big area out here for doing some networking. In the room, you can see that there's a seminar going on.
What's your favorite spot in this entire building?
So my favorite room in the whole building is probably the one that we're going to now. So this is on the 6th floor, and tucked away in the corner here, this is what we call our esports and our gaming room. At the moment, it is fitted out as a normal meeting room, so you can see there is. So this is our coding hub and esports room. Currently, it is fitted out as a normal meeting room where you have conferencing facilities. But when it's not being used in this format, here we would have extendable stadium seating for doing things such as gaming nights, hackathons, and the like. This is the only room in the whole building which is off-grid to the rest of the Bernberg IT network. And it's also soundproof as well for some very, very active gaming sessions.
How loud do you guys get?
As loud as you want.
Oh. So last time I had the opportunity to interview you for a AI voice cloning case. Right?
Yeah.
So as we briefly discussed that last time, how do you see current trends in intellectual property law evolving, particularly concerning AI and data protection in the creative industry?
That's a great question, Kathy, and I think it's something which is forefront at everyone's minds right now. As with all fast-moving areas of tech, laws and regulations always are playing catch-up to a certain extent. Here in the China region, we have two recent examples. So, for example, back in August this year, the Supreme People's Court issued a call for major research topics for the year ahead. And within that call were three areas, a focus upon AI. And then earlier this year, the Patent Office issued their new revised patent examination guidelines, which for the first time gave hard guidance on the patentability of areas such as algorithms and how inventions relating to the processing of, say, big data could be novel and inventive and then worthy of the patenting. I think something else that is quite commonly talked about these days is the impact of AI tools on the legal services market. There are some pretty extreme views that with the the advent of new AI tools for doing things such as document review, it's going to render large parts of the old business of doing law either inefficient or it will then render some roles redundant. I actually think that the future is not as bleak as some of those fairly extreme views make out there to be. I think for sure that the way that lawyers will need to integrate those tools into their everyday workflows will change. But I don't think that lawyers need to be fearful of AI coming in to actually do their jobs. I don't think lawyers should be fearful of AI tools coming in to take over their roles. But what I think they should be doing is recognizing that they should be fearful of other lawyers who can make use of those AI tools in a much more efficient way than they themselves can.
All right. Thank you for your input. Let's move on to the next question. So given that the platforms creators use often claim a broad license to user content, what strategies can creators employ to limit or negotiate these terms, especially when their work is being monetized?
I think from the creator's viewpoint, the first thing to do is obviously to know the terms of the platform that you're engaging with. Apart from that is to also then know your rights as to outside of that in the wider legal context. So for example, in China, the civil code safeguards a person's right to their light consent voice, which is actually separate from the IP issues involved. Another very good practical point would be to then clarify the terms before signing on. Another practical tip would be for creators to clarify at the outset the terms of how their likeness or their voice or their other IP will be used. Very often we've seen cases where clients have come to us and they weren't aware that it wasn't just their voice, but other parts of their IP or their personality were being used for their machine training, or creating AI, or others images or videos. So knowing the terms of which your IP is being used at the outset is also key. And if all else fails, you can always seek legal advice. Design patent law around the world has been fairly well harmonized for a good few decades now. Probably the major outlier in that regard was a practice in China, which until recently clients were not able to apply for a partial design. So that meant that if you had one part of a whole product that was new, you were not able to get until fairly recently protection just for that new part, and instead the actual protection was for the whole thing with the old part and the new part. So the law change recently really helped to bring China more in line with the practice in the rest of the world there.
Okay. All right, that would be all for our in-depth questions. You're so mean. Okay, so
in-depth questions.
I've heard from your colleagues that you talk about Bird and Bird's rooftop a lot. Do you care to show us around?
Please, yes. Let's go upstairs to the rooftop. We're very fortunate that we have this whole space on the roof to ourselves. This is a great space for us to do client entertainment or for our own internal staff purposes. So we've had barbecues here before. We've had Christmas parties. All the greenery that you see here is all real. So this is real grass and real plants along the side and on the walls as well. Yeah, not so much during the daytime because it's very sunny, as you can see. But after the sun goes down, it's a really cool, it's a really chilled space here. When we first moved up here, we were wondering what to do with this small patch of grass here. Some of the golfers in the firm wanted to turn this into a small putting green. Yeah. Luckily, we didn't go. We didn't follow that suggestion.
right, that will be all for today, Ted. Thank you so much for participating in our interview.
Thanks, Kathy. I hope you and your viewers have enjoyed this tour around Bird offices in Hong Kong today. If you'd like to find out more about us and what we do or who we are, please get in touch through the links below.